Hey everyone, welcome to F14 Real Talk. I'm Mike Milano with Ethan McKellar. Today on the show, we have Maria and a lot of other good things we are going to talk about. But first, let's kick it off with talking about the recommendations of the week. Ethan, what have you been watching, my friend?
Yeah, oh wow, I forget what my recommendation was last week. Was it The Bear? I don't know. I don't know if it
It
was The
was,
Bear
and
or
I
not.
think, and didn't you mention, what's that movie with Bradley Cooper? Maestro, right?
Oh, Maestro, right. I don't know if I guess I can't recommend them again. So I guess if I had to do a
Mm.
new recommendation, something that I've watched recently, when I've had time. Oh, I just started Yellow Jackets. It's a
Oh.
TV show with um essentially about a plane crash and this girls soccer team, Lord of the Flies type of, survival, create a little like environment, I should say like society for themselves. So yeah, it's interesting. It flashes back and forth like a lot, which is a lot of fun. um
Nice.
and it's like twisted, like these people end up like, this isn't a spoiler, it's in the first episode, but these people end up like eating people alive, like it's like but doing it in like a ritual way. It's like really creepy. But it's super interesting, and I think I'm on episode 3 now, so we'll see how that goes. What about you?
Is
what,
that
what have you
on?
been watching? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. Is that on streaming platforms or like on
Yeah,
regular TV?
yeah, great question. It is on Showtime, I believe, but you can do that through Paramount Plus. That's how I watch it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's how. Last week I was talking about Ray Donovan, but I watch it the same way because that show premiered on Showtime. But yeah, anyway, um, I watched all the Rockies back to back. I'm not gonna lie, a lot of people probably have seen them, but the only reason why I watched them was because Carl Weathers, who played Apollo Creed, if everyone didn't know, unfortunately he passed away. But that's the only reason why I was watching it, and I haven't seen them in a while. But yeah, if anyone lives in Philadelphia that watches this, I think back in December they added like a Rocky store right outside of the art museum, where Rocky ran up the steps.
No way.
Actually, yeah, it's pretty cool. We should go there. I drove past it, but I didn't walk in because there's a little bit of a line, and I don't know, I didn't feel like waiting. But yeah, we're gonna have to check it out. But me personally, I recommend watching the Rockies. My personal favorite is obviously the first one. I also like Rocky 2 and 4. I thought 3 was, I don't know, just not a fan. But yeah, you have any more recommendations?
Not really. No, I don't. I think that's kind of, I haven't really, I'm super busy. I haven't been able to watch anything else. But yeah.
All right. Um, you think we should bring Maria on now?
Yeah, I think. Well, first of all, before we bring on Maria, I think it's something interesting to talk about. When this episode just came out, it would be the first episode after F14 Day, which is February 14th, which is exciting to celebrate. And so, actually, just to kind of, before we bring on Maria, a little bit of a background of why we're bringing on a bunch of special guests in the next couple weeks. This is our final year of kind of college year of F14, which is what we're saying, right? And we just had, again, after this podcast comes out the day before, on the 18th, we just had a screening for the ensemble and all this stuff. And we're really starting to celebrate kind of the end of an era for F14. And part of that era, to introduce her, is Maria, who is obviously part of the ensemble. So, Maria, whenever you want to pop on. Cool.
Hi.
Hi, Maria. Welcome. Super
Thank
excited to
you.
have you here. I personally know Maria, but I also obviously worked with her on the ensemble. So we're really excited for you to be here. The ensemble has not come out yet, so this is, no spoilers, especially for you at the end of the movie. But we certainly can talk about general things, and we can get a little specific about it. But for those who don't know, the ensemble comes out in June this upcoming year, and it stars both of an actor named Victor and Maria, and we're hoping to have Victor on soon. But we were able to fortunately book Maria first, who I think is really exciting because she kind of is the central kind of character in that movie anyway. Um, But I guess I can start off by asking Maria, how have you been? What have you been personally up to? Um, in you're going to school, but what else are you up to? Inside and outside school.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I started um, with an acting coach back in November because I want to start doing some more film theater around New York City outside of Pace. And I wanted some extra training since I'm not going to school for acting. And I also just recently applied to be an RA, so fingers crossed on that. Just got through my last round last weekend, I believe, and I'll know back in like 6 days, and I'm really excited. I'm nervous, but I'm excited.
Yeah, yeah, that's really exciting because for our listeners who don't know the New York area, Pace area, both myself and Maria go to Pace University, which is in New York City. Just I don't know if you said it, but you go to school for arts and entertainment management, right?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, cool. So that's really exciting. And then yeah, obviously the RA thing is huge. I'm also an RA, but I think the RA thing is huge as people who want to be in the entertainment industry, like to be able to know you have your housing down, like so you can
Right.
like focus on the
Yeah.
rest of your life is like huge. Like
Correct.
to get like free housing like is huge.
Yeah.
And it's not the reason we do it, sole reason obviously, but it
Right.
is like it is a benefit and you can't deny that,
Yeah.
because you can focus on spending that money on acting classes or
Correct.
films or
Yes.
whatever. Michael, did you
Especially
want to?
living
Oh,
in.
sorry. Go ahead. Yeah,
Sorry, I was
go
just
ahead,
gonna say,
Maria.
especially to get that opportunity living in New York City, essentially for free. It's like, how can you pass
Yeah,
that up?
Yeah.
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 That's nuts. I mean, Michael. I mean, actually, all three of us at this point have lived in New York City, and have experienced that. Michael, I don't know if you want to pop in and ask some questions.
Yeah, I just have to touch on that. I'm jealous, because unfortunately I went to New York Film Academy, which is like a private school, so we don't have no RAs or anything. And man, I just remember when obviously my parents paid for me to live there, and I'm just remembering like, man, like when I would send my dad the email about paying rent or whatever, he'd be like, "All right, Mike, you have this amount of spending money, blah blah blah," and it's just like, wow, man, it's like. Well, I wish I had free housing, but that's all right, right? But yeah. So, how did you join F14? Like, how did you hear about it?
Um, Honestly, I think I heard about it somewhere around campus, and luckily Ethan was my RA, so I went to him. I think it had to have been like, oh my God, one of the very first days that I was there, and I was like, hey, I heard you have this company, and I would really like to be part of one of your casts and any of your upcoming productions, blah 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 projects. And he was like, okay, like I'll let you know. And most of the year went by, and then finally he came knocking, and he was
Yeah,
like, hey, I have something that I think you'd be good for, and blah blah blah. That's how it
yeah.
happened.
And
Nice.
it was literally like a year. Like it wasn't a
Yeah.
whole year, obviously, because but it was at least 6 months.
Yeah.
It wasn't until April or late
Right.
March. Yeah, late March.
Late
We
March,
filmed
I
in
think.
April.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I thought you meant it took Ethan 6 months to come knocking on your door.
it did though. It did.
Oh, oh,
No, it
oh,
did.
wow.
Yeah, it's
Yeah. All
I
right.
didn't ask her. I didn't ask her until 6 months later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Gotcha.
After meeting her to be in the film.
Okay.
But yeah. But yeah. So Maria, I guess I can ask. Uh, so to kind of going back away from F14 for a minute, then we can come back to the ensemble. Obviously, let's talk
Sure.
about you obviously you took this route to go to the business route, which is actually really smart. I did the similar thing. I went to school originally for directing, and then I kind of went and broadened it to film and screen studies,
Right.
so that I could focus on. I also want to produce, want to do the business end, but obviously directing is like superior. Same thing for you for acting. But let's talk about acting for a second. Why did you want to be an actress? What is the drive? Go back to the origin of that.
All right. Well, I did my first play when I was 8 years old, and I remember it was Alice Through the Looking Glass. I don't know if you know it, but um, I remember the girl Alice was a girl who was like 3 years older than me, and I remember she sang her first solo, and it was something very deep and meaningful. And the crowd, the way everyone, like backstage too, everybody was holding hands for her, everybody was excited for her, and that like I could feel that the crowd was moved by what she was doing, and that was the moment I was like, I want to do this for people. I want to have this impact on people, and yeah, I've been doing it ever since then. But practically, I've wanted to be an actress my whole life.
And so how were you? So okay, that's what I was going to ask. Like, how long was it really? Like, since you were a little girl, wanted to be an
Yeah,
actress?
since I was a little girl. I mean, I think it started when I was like little as a singer. I always wanted to be a singer, but it kind of morphed into acting as I got older and was able to do theater. You know.
For sure, for sure. Um,
Nice.
yeah, Michael, did you want to go?
Yeah. Um. So could you tell us, like, what was the process like of filming the ensemble? How long did it take? Were you nervous or?
I was nervous because I came into that room and found out it was all BFA actors, and the other um, lead, Victor, was a graduate BFA actor. So I was like, oh my god, I'm like the freaking chicken in the room with a bunch of,
Yeah.
I don't know, famous people. I was very nervous because of that, especially because I hadn't done any real acting for like, God, I don't think like 10 months by that point. Um, so I was nervous, but it ended up being okay, and it brought back my like drive and my motivation to start back into acting. So I was so grateful for that film. The It was like about I want to say a week,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
Okay.
About
obviously
a
that
week,
we
maybe
did
two.
all that. I don't know if we clarified that I directed it to the viewer or listeners. I don't know if we clarified that, but so if I ever say random stuff that I know about the project, that's why. But so we obviously, Maria, we obviously did like it was more than a week because we did the one day, but then we did. Okay, you're right. Maybe like 7 days altogether, but it was over like
Right,
remember like 3 to 4 weeks.
over the span of correct.
Yeah, yeah, and then we
Yeah,
filmed like I don't think this is really a spoiler. Essentially, like the film for the viewers who don't know is centered around an acting class, and
right.
but it resembles and metaphors like the outside world, um, of kind of you know like harassment and like bullying and like that college environment, and we're kind of in society and we're relating that to an acting class, and so. Yeah, just for a little background for people. And I guess my question, Maria, is like, what was something that, you obviously talked about the challenge of like coming in being in your mind being, not as experienced as these other people, but what another kind of challenge did you think you faced with this project specifically, maybe with the part specifically?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, I think with this film, because it was centered around an acting class, um, it was like more experimental, right? So we were kind of like put in this position and we're told right away rather than like having time to prepare. Like, usually I want to prepare all these different things about my character so that I can really make it more authentic. And I didn't have that time, which was intentional and it obviously worked for the film. But in my actor brain, I'm like, oh my God, I don't know what her sister's dead dog's name is. Like, how am I gonna, make this authentic? You know?
yeah,
So yeah, but that was definitely a challenge.
totally.
All right. So what was something that you were proud of with when filming the ensemble?
Um, I kind of touched on this already, but I was proud of the drive that it brought back to me because I was definitely going through a spiral at the time
Hmm.
because I definitely wanted to go into college for acting, and I was like dealing with the fact that I was going more the business route than the acting route, and this kind of brought back my like realization that hey, I can do this. Like this is what I want to do. Why am I not doing it? You know, and that
One
was a
hundred
Totally.
percent.
big prideful
Yeah,
feeling for me.
yeah. I think
And
that's
just
something.
for all
Yeah.
the, sorry, I was just gonna
No,
say, just a little motivational Mike Milano speech. Ethan has heard these plenty of times. Just for any of the viewers out there, you can do anything you put your mind to, right? Just like Maria said, she got her confidence back from just doing it. And yeah, any young kid out there that wants to be an actor, just do anything.
yeah.
Put your mind to it, and I promise it will come true.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. And I think Michael, like you and I talk a lot about like obviously that opportunity of like maybe you're not in an environment where you're an acting major or maybe you're wherever you are in the world, but you can still obviously like do the steps to act and do the steps to
Oh
do
yeah.
what you want to do. And I guess for Maria, what is something that you as an actor maybe learned more about either yourself or the craft doing the film, the ensemble?
Um, well, I guess since this was my like first film, I've only done theater. Um, I'm definitely much more aware of my body. um, so that definitely also was a factor of like, I got to take care of myself a little bit more, not just necessarily for how I look on film, but also for myself. But
Yeah,
yeah, I
yeah,
kind of
and
forgot your question. I'm not gonna lie.
no, you're good. And then and what about like did you I guess we could kind of pivot now to like talking about the actual film in a way of
Sure.
like the content of it. So obviously you had to wear a mask for all the stuff that was in the the dance studio, and I guess people don't know, as you kind of referenced, is that that is all like improv. And
Right.
that obviously what Victor is like, he's the teacher. Victor, we keep referencing, is the teacher. He is obviously like that is scripted, but what you guys all did in the room, all those beautiful moments where you like turn your face and they're all against you, against the wall,
Yeah.
and like all these, that was all like in. It wasn't even in. I wouldn't even consider it improv. It was improv, but like it was almost like meant to be. Like it was. You guys were
Yeah.
so connected as an ensemble after only what 3 to 4 hours. Like,
Right.
how was that
Yeah.
experience? How was the experience of not having a script? You kind of mentioned it, but I'd love for you to talk more about kind of
Sure.
yeah that.
Yeah. I guess that's also part of one of the things that was challenging slash I was proud of too because I think because it was so we're all actors, we've been in those like entry level acting classes, we've all kind of been in that environment, we knew what we were doing, but also we've never interacted with each other, right? Like a couple of them knew each other, but this was kind of like the first time where we all put an environment together to act. And it was like right away, hey, you guys got to do this. But it was I remember like you kind of had us do some acting exercises before we started filming, which I think did help us like kind of get more natural with each other and see what would come out, um, which is improv. Like it's just kind of letting everything flow and seeing what comes out, and that's how it came out so naturally, I think.
Totally, totally.
And I think when it just touch on it, I think when you act and just comes out naturally, I think that's the best, right? Because
Right.
I feel like when actors like let it get to their head and it's just not
Overthink.
natural, yeah, and
Yeah,
overthink, and I don't know, I just feel like it comes out better, But
I do agree.
um, so Maria, what do you hope people take away from this project of yours?
Oh God. I hope that they kind of take a step back and think about society and how much what the rules are really matter,
Right.
and realize that you don't have to follow society to be happy. Um, Obviously, that might not exactly, may or may not happen in the movie, but you can be happy and you should be happy, and society doesn't really matter at the end of the day.
Right.
100% strong message.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's totally amazing. I think I'd love for people to take that as well. I guess I also would love to kind of wrap up about with the question about where do you see yourself in a couple years? What do you want to? What are your goals for the next couple years in the industry?
I hope to get my um, certificate for a checkoff consortium that I'm doing. It's a 3-year program. And hopefully by then I'll be doing some more film. Theater will be great too, but I have a more interest in film. And I hope to get my foot in the door with my management degree as well. Like I want to start either a talent agency or maybe be my own manager and kind of take that direction and be like, hey, look at me, I'm doing both.
Yeah.
Um, Something along those lines. Hopefully, get my footing more in acting. Yeah.
For sure. I think Michael, you might even be able to kind of talk more about this, but like, there's almost so much more power in knowing, even if you don't end up becoming your manager, just knowing all the stuff that you need to know as
Correct.
a manager, so that if anyone can't play you, They can't
Yeah.
try to,
Right.
or
Yeah.
even in people, maybe not managers, but even in the industry, they can't. The rules about the
Correct.
game.
That was actually my biggest reason why I chose the degree that I chose. Because I got into a couple acting schools back in Ohio, but it's Ohio. So I chose New York. And plus, I do think this is a better route.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Nice.
Cool. All right. Cool. Well, I think that was our 20-minute mark right there. Maria, we really appreciate you obviously coming in and doing this and being a part of F14, and hopefully you stick with us
Yeah.
and that you get everything that you're doing and all the work you're putting in this year. Michael, if you want to sign off or say anything else.
No, you covered it all. Thank you, Maria, for coming on. It means a lot that we have you on our podcast.
Thanks for having
And
me.
yeah, of course, maybe down the road you do another project, we can bring you on.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching F14 Real Talk Podcast. Signing out.